Hey guys, and welcome to Functional Print Friday. So I'm out here in my garage shop and I've got one of these Kennedy chests that has a bunch of tooling in it for my lathe and milling machine. And in fact, many of you will remember a couple months back we did this nice insert for the front of the drawer that holds all of my Allura style tool posts. I'll link this down in the description in case you missed that video. And ever since then, I've wanted to do more sort of custom inserts or custom organization in these drawers. I eventually want to do something in the back of this drawer as well. I'm just not sure what yet because these things are so heavy. Whatever I want to do in the back, it's got to be stuff that's fairly light, and I'm just not sure what to put back there yet. But the drawer above this one has a bunch of insert tooling and just random high-speed steel tooling, some center drills and stuff. And it's really a disorganized mess in here. I guess at first glance it probably looks better than just a bunch of stuff thrown into a drawer, but that's only because there are just a couple different places and little nooks in here to set things into, but none of them are really the right size. So you see, like, I have some inserts here, some inserts here, some inserts back here. I have this aluminum case that all of actually the tool bits that are in these tool holders was originally in. Like, there's really no reason for that to be in this drawer anymore. And then the worst thing is there's a bunch of tools in here that have either carbide brazed onto them or actual carbide insert tooling that's just loose. And the problem with that is carbide tooling, as hard as it is and as effective it is for cutting through hard steel, it's very brittle. So when these things knock into each other, these can chip, and then you've got to replace the insert. So what I'd like to do is design, sort of, I guess, inserts really for the whole drawer that better hold everything in here and better organize it so that I can actually see what I've got and spend less time digging through stuff. And the advantage to this is, there's, let's see, how many drawers in this that are the same size? There's 5 in this. I actually have another one of these Kennedy chests. So once we kind of come up with a grid of how we want to design some inserts for these, I can use that in all the different drawers. Yeah, this drawer down here would also benefit from a bunch of custom inserts. This is like a stock Kennedy plastic insert. And again, it's better than nothing. It's, better than just everything loose in the drawer. But same thing, there's stuff in here that's like knocking into other stuff in the drawer that shouldn't be. Most of these are precision ground tapers that any damage to that taper is going to cause damage to the more socket that it's going into in either the tailstock or the headstock. So I'll probably come back to this one at a future date using whatever grid layout we design for the drawer up here. All right, first thing I'm going to do is get everything out of this drawer, get it set aside so we can get some measurements in here. All right, everything's out. I got some measurements. I remember from when we did the tooling holders in the drawer below this that there's some screws that hold this handle on as well. So I tried to give us enough gap for those, and there's some pieces on the side here that come through that, well, actually I think the drawer is essentially sitting in these hooks from these drawer slides. So I have to take that into consideration, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is try and draw up a tray that I can put a lot of like this loose tooling in, like these parts here. I've got a bunch of different loose pieces of tooling, and the problem is when it's all jumbled together, like I can't see what's what. Like a lot of these have custom faces cut on them for specific purposes like grooving or different thread profiles. Like this one at some point in time was cutting that particular profile, and I just, actually, sorry, there's the cutting side. I can't, and again, I can't see them the way they're in the drawer now. So, all right, let me go start figuring out kind of a grid for this. And when I say grid, I mean we're going to cut this into, I don't know, maybe like 12 sort of rectangles or squares, and then we'll make sure all of our pieces fit within that grid size so that as I change what I want to put in this drawer and I figure out what I want to put in these other drawers, we can mix and match different parts that we design. And yeah, I know there's a bunch of different grid systems that are already out there. I did look at a couple of them. What it comes down to is I have, again, 5 of these drawers. I have another one of these units that's 10 of the drawers this size, and then I have another unit over behind where the tripod's sitting that has drawers that are all the same size. And I think because I have enough of these drawers that are the same size, it's worth it to just design my own grid system for for these that are going to best utilize the space in these drawers and the drawers in my blue cabinets behind us, which will also be a future video. I think we're probably only going to get this one done today. All right, let me get started and see if I can figure out at least a starting point of a grid and a tray for all of the loose tooling like this. All right, and here's what I've got so far. The brown part here that I will hide is the actual drawer, and this represents the height of the drawer up to that front lip. So I can bring these individual pieces up as high as that, and they'll still slip under that front lip and give me the full utilization of the space in the drawer. I ended up settling on a 3x11 grid. I think this will give me enough configurability in the drawer. I mean, in theory, I guess I could have up to 33 individual pieces in here, but more than likely, whatever I design in here is going to fit across, several of these grid spaces inside the drawer. And, if I try and go too many, like if I have, I don't know, maybe more than 3 or 4 wide, or deep, I think I'll probably be in a situation where I eat up the little bit of clearance that I left myself on the sides, as each one of these is not going to butt up perfectly against each other. Though I did leave a tiny bit, so we should be okay. I'm on the fence as to whether I want to divide this up into 3 or 4 pieces from a depth perspective. I'm going to see how this fits for the lathe tool bits, because that's going to be kind of the deciding factor here, I think. As I certainly can't go any smaller than this if this ends up being too big for the majority of them. And to go bigger, I'm eating up 2/3 of the drawer. So that one might come back to bite us, which is why I'm going to stop here. It's tempting to just keep going and design all the other, sort of grid pieces here, or different options to fit together. But I'm going to stop here. I'm going to print just this piece. We're going to try it, and then we'll go from there. All right, our first one is done, and came out really nice, but it's a little bit deeper than I was anticipating. It's kind of funny. No matter how many times you swing something around in CAD to try and get a feel for, sort of the size and shape, you don't really know until you print it out. And this is just, I think it's a little bit deeper than I want. I feel like it's going to be, even with these recesses here, I feel like it's going to be tough to grab stuff out of this, particularly the smaller stuff. But let me grab some tooling. Let's try it out. Yeah, it's okay. The big ones, unless they're at the edge, aren't too bad to grab out. The smaller ones are, you almost kind of got to get them with your thumb and forefinger from the ends. It's just too deep. And you could see I should have taken some of these up to my desk when I was drawing the stuff. I thought this was going to be long enough for these, so that's not going to work. Actually, this guy might fit in. Yeah, so that one fits in. So, all right, I'm not super happy with the size of this. I think it is too long for most of these medium and small ones. It's not long enough for these guys. I feel like these could be a little bit wider. I was trying to maximize the number of individual slots that I would have, but these are just a bit, yeah, they're a bit too narrow, particularly for like these larger ones. I'd like a little more space, and I want it to be lower. And I'm not entirely sure on the grid size for this. After I started to print this, I was messing around with it a bit more, and I think I might tweak the grid size so that we can get a little bit shorter than this and a little bit longer without making a huge step to like twice this size. So I'll go fiddle around with that some more and get another test print done. All right, so here is our V2 of at least this piece, and you can see the change here I made to the grid size as well. We're able to go a little bit longer than this without doubling this size. And this is divided into 3 different sizes. And the width is actually different as well. So these slots over here are substantially wider than our original tray. These over here are just slightly wider, but again, they're for smaller tools. And the big difference is the height of the whole thing is the edges are basically the same, but the height of the dividers is significantly lower. And the height from the bottom of the recesses to the bottom of the tray is half. This was, I believe, 10 millimeters, and this one is 5 millimeters. So let's try this one out. All right, well, I'm liking that a lot better, but obviously we need more of these. So I think I'm gonna print a second one of these, but flipped, so that if we have 2 touching end to end, we'd have the large storage on the end of this one and the large storage on this end of one of the, basically a mirror image of this one. That'll give us twice as many slots. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a slot for every single tool bit, but that's okay. Not all these even have anything on them. We can have, just sort of a larger, like a larger box section for like uncut tool bits. And I think if I have double this number, I'll have enough slots for everything that I'm going to use on a semi-regular basis. So, all right, I'm going to make another one of these as a mirror image, and I want to figure out storage for the carbide inserts as well. Some of them are in trays, like these guys, or even some in just like cardboard trays like this, and then a bunch of them are loose because. For example, this one is off of a tool holder that I have inserts for steel and for aluminum and brass. So this is the steel one, and actually that side might be shot, but has one good side on it. So I don't want to throw this out. I don't want it to get chipped. So I need some way to store the loose inserts as well. I'm thinking we might actually do maybe like a 2-level one. Maybe we have these underneath, and then like a sliding piece on top. That the loose inserts would be in. I've got a bunch of these loose inserts, and I probably have more somewhere too. I feel like that's not all of them. All right, let me go back, do some more drawing, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, and here is what I think is our final design. You can see here, I'll hide the drawer again just so we can see this a bit better. Here is our mirror image of this one here. And then I've designed some ones for the back here that are, they're probably not going to be as fitted to the things that we're going to put in them as the front row. But I figure, this gives us a couple different size compartments to work with and just see how that stuff works out. If I end up having to redesign these, that's just fine. That's the whole point of this grid system. Even though these are designed for the shallow height drawer, I can easily adjust these, particularly like these general use ones where we have 4 slots here, 3 slots here, and then one big one here, to be deeper for that deeper drawer. But this one over here is for the carbide insert tooling. I have whole packages of those, and then I have individual ones. And this tray at the top is actually designed to slide back and forth. So it only covers either the front compartment or the rear compartment, slide back and forth freely. And that's where the loose carbide bits will go. And then the whole packages of carbide bits will hopefully stack too high down here in the bottom. I measured 2 of those packages and left myself, I think, an extra millimeter. So I don't have enough to cover more than 1 row on the bottom for the front and back today, but the idea is, to be able to have room for growth. So I want to be able to stack those too high in here. That's why this one is full depth. Ones in the back are also full depth. I did recess the dividers just by a little bit. I'm a little worried that as we get to the back of the drawer, the drawer doesn't come out all the way. The drawer probably comes out to, I don't know, like maybe here. So whatever is further back than that point, we have to be able to sort of reach in there and grab. And I just figured it'd be easier to have this sit a little bit lower than the full height. So, All right, I'm going to get the rest of these printed out and let's see how stuff fits. All right, well that looks like it all fits together really well. I guess it's time to actually see if it fits in the drawer. And you can see what I was talking about. Again, I'm really not sure how I'm gonna use the space in the second part of this drawer. We have all these other things to go in here. You know, like this small compartment here, that'd be perfect for these countersink bits. Same thing, we can put all of the center drills in one of these. And you know, then we've got some much larger ones just for stuff that I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go yet. So, all right, let's see if all this actually fits in the drawer. All right, all those trays fit in really nice. My side-to-side play, left to right, is about maybe 1.5 millimeters. Again, because we have those these sort of hanging hooks on the side. Well, really the drawer is hanging in the drawer slide there. And these vary a bit from drawer to drawer, so I don't want to tighten that up anymore. Again, that's you can see the gap there. It's not very big. I can shim that at the sides if I need to. I do have a little bit bigger of a gap than I intended front to back. You can see I can open that up and almost squeeze my pinky in there. Now, I was trying to leave room for the screw heads up here. I don't know if yeah, we can see it. So there is like a machine screw or a self-tapping screw that goes into the aluminum handle here on the front. Now, these trays are below that. I think if I swap one of these out with a full height one, we're probably going to lose half of that. All right, it's not quite as bad as I thought. It comes out maybe another 2 millimeters. So, you know, if I wanted to redesign this whole thing to, you know, accommodate for that little extra space, we could probably pick up another maybe 3 millimeters, you know, allowing for those screw heads in the front. That's not worth it. And the reality is, I want to make sure that with the slight variations in these drawers, that they're going to fit. So I'd much rather shim each drawer out in the back so that these don't slide around, and know that they'll fit in every single one of these drawers. All right, let me actually get all these pieces back in and get everything organized into here, and I'll bring you back. You know what, before I do that, I'm going to figure out for this drawer at least how big this gap is, just with a stack of feeler gauges. And I'm going to cut a piece of wood that is the same width as that. And then I think I'm actually going to pack it at the front. So these are going into this lip at the front, which means I can't actually get all the way to the edge of each one of these. So if I put the packing piece at the front, it pushes these back a little bit and I can see the front edge better. So, all right, let me figure out how thick this needs to be, and I'm going to just cut a shim for this. Hi guys, I am pretty happy with that. I think I am going to still reprint this so that I can stack these too high for future growth. And I may end up doing something different back here where I just sort of have this big one as a catch-all. I moved my Cratex blocks up here. That worked out really nice for those. All the tools here. I mean, I think that works pretty well. It's definitely a significant improvement from what was here before. And I'm really excited now about tackling this drawer down here in a similar fashion. And in fact, we might actually have like some custom inserts so that the larger pieces of tooling, particularly like the live centers and drill chucks, they actually have like a dedicated spot that they fit exactly into that's easy to grab them out of. But we'll do that in a future video. But for now, I am really happy with how this one came out. So, guys, as always, thanks for hanging out in the shop with me for today's design and video. There's a ton of these Kennedy chests out there. I see these come up on Facebook Marketplace all the time, usually for a pretty good price. So I imagine some of you watching this video probably have one or two or even more of these chests sitting in your garage. So, of course, the STLs for this will be available for free on my site, fpfdesigns.com, just like everything that we design and cover on this channel. So if you want to make a set of these for yourself, or you want to at least maybe start with some of these designs, like even if you just printed a bunch of the ones that are like the 4 and the 3, or these big ones, or maybe these sliding ones, this would work well for fasteners as well. These two here, I'm not sure exactly what else you'd put in those other than tool bits, but I don't know. You guys tell me down in the comments and let me know if you would have done anything differently. And if this is your first time on the channel, I do a new functional print like this every single week, every Friday. A lot of stuff out here in the shop, but I do stuff around the house and outside as well. If you got anything out of this video at all, if you enjoyed it, take a second, hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if this is the first video of mine that you're seeing, go check out some of my other stuff. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. And guys, if you do, I'll see you next Friday.